Aeneas is portrayed as constantly struggling against his fate. He's first warned of the fall of Troy by the ghost of Hector, but he does not want to comply with the request simply to flee. Similarly, he disregards the words of Panthus, who describes the situation as hopeless. Only when he's warned by his mother, the goddess Venus, does he concede. He falters again when his wife, Creusa, cannot be found, and he rushes back to try to find her. He can only be persuaded to take the others and leave by the shade of Creusa herself. His conflict is clearly between, on the one hand, his warrior ethic, which demands that he fight to the bitter end to protect his city and his family, and, on the other hand, his fate, which demands that he flee and lead the other surviving Trojans to safety. There's thus an inward struggle in the hero between what he personally wants to do and what fate and duty demand of him. He's thus portrayed as a man of passion who yields to a higher duty, albeit at times reluctantly. This can also be seen when he catches sight of Helen of Troy, the cause of the war and all the suffering on both sides. After having witnessed the death of King Priam and the sack of the great citadel of Troy, Aeneas is burning with anger. He wants to take his sword and kill her. This scene is the pendant to the one at the beginning of the Iliad, where Achilles wants to attack and kill Agamemnon, but then is restrained by Athena. So also here, when Aeneas has worked himself up into a rage, he's restrained by his goddess mother, who physically grabs his right hand and holds him back. Her explanation of the situation to Aeneas is that neither Helen nor her lover Paris is responsible for the calamity. Instead, she says, quote, "It is the gods, the cruelty of the gods." She explains how each of the gods, Neptune, Juno, Athena, and Jupiter, all had a hand in the fall of Troy. The gods themselves are the enemies of the city. This recalls the picture of the hostile divinities in the Epic of Gilgamesh, who had no compunction about causing great disasters among the humans. As in Greek religion, the Romans also looked to nature to tell them what to do in difficult situations. Nature was the medium of communication between the gods and human beings. When Anchises refuses to leave his home, even though it is in flames, he asks for a sign from Jupiter. Quote, "Scarcely had he spoken when a sudden peal of thunder rang out on the left, and a star fell from the sky, trailing a great torch of light in its course through the darkness." End quote. It's by means of nature that Jupiter tells Anchises that he's supposed to leave. So also, in Book 4, we see Queen Dido examining the entrails of sacrificed animals for guidance from the gods. This was, of course, a standard practice in Roman times. Similarly, watching the flights of birds was also a form of prophecy in the Roman world, with the idea being that the gods communicated their wishes in this way. In Book 6, Aeneas' mother Venus sends 2 doves to lead him to the golden bough that he needs in order to enter the underworld. So here again, there's a close connection between nature and the divine.